Greetings of peace and paradise, family. Welcome to another We Soar Above Family Roundtable Talk. This morning, we're going to be addressing something that is happening to most of our people right about now. We're talking about our unhealthy relationships with our finances, where we're being forced to do things that is not in our wheelhouse. Recently, I was just contacted by someone to give them information how to prevent them from being forced to take the vaccine. And so we want to discuss that and bring other sources to our people of opportunities that are available to them so that they are in charge of their lives and of the decisions that they make for themselves. With me is Sister Aziz and Brother Aziz. Sister Aziz, you want to chime in?
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. You know, Sister Grace, I am grateful and have overwhelming gratitude to be able to work collaboratively with each of you, because in truth, our work for me is how I get a chance to really stay balanced. And more importantly, it's the way I believe we're able to really share a lifestyle ministry wherein, while my husband and I and all of us who are interconnected are looking at living lifestyles in balance, we're not feeling like we're in an island. I always say no man or woman is an island, right? And I think right now we're getting a chance to see, as I sit here with our 16-month-old who they said couldn't be here, right? They said I couldn't have children. I laugh because my whole life has kind of been one struggle soaring above after another. Things that people say couldn't be done. I think it's almost like fuel for me. Like, really? We can't do it? All right, cool. Let me show you. And so it takes me back to my college years when I'm starting college at 17 and I was determined to be finished when I was 20. I think life is about how our mindset is. And to me, I am, like you, constantly being asked, when my child is going to college, they said now that they've rescinded admission or they won't be able to come on campus or they won't. And I am still shocked because from my perspective, and I think everyone should have their own, I don't understand how people are sending anybody into any building unless they have some of the purifiers that we have that kill COVID, unless they have certain things. And even if you're in spaces for very short, keyword, short periods of time, knowing all the variants that are coming now, I don't see how we think it's safe to be doing these things in the name of. A lot of people are sending their children back to schools or inside classrooms. I don't understand the concept. So I must say that I'm the person who is probably a unicorn or an alien or what have you. My husband and I have not gone inside of the store regularly since November of last year because we knew there would be an uptick. So I've always, though, like I said, been that unicorn in the room. Yes, I'm willing to suffer the consequences of going against the grain. And I think it's rooted in scripture. And I think we all have different belief systems. So I think everyone has a freedom to do whatever it is they want to do. But I think what we tend to forget is that with what we do, there's always a consequence or a benefit.
Sure.
And you're going to have to reap either the consequence or the benefit. You don't choose the consequences or the benefits that come your way based on your choices. So this particular week, we have a lot of people who actually are in our innermost circle who have people who they love and like, who they've allowed in their space, who don't shelter in place. So if you are around people, and see my 16-month-old is trying to weigh in now, if you are around people who do not want to shelter in place, you're going to reap the consequences of what they do. So for me, my view is a little different than most people. I don't want to spend time with people who have been vaccinated because I know that those who have been vaccinated with this particular mRNA vaccine, they are the cause of the spawning of new variants and their immune system won't function at all. So I know that we don't want to be a part of that problem. And more importantly, let's go back. What matters? What does balance look like? A healthy relationship with our mind, our body, our family, our finances, and our community. So, and when we have that in balance, then you don't have anybody that can tell you got to do anything.
Because definitely when, you know, we, as my wife was basically explaining, once you have all those 5 pillars that will hold up a structure, like hold up your life and balance your life, you don't have to worry about where they say you can and cannot go. They shouldn't have that much control over everything. You know, and it puts you everyone's gonna be placed in a valuable decision. Everybody. So you're gonna have to make a choice if you choice for your life or death.
Yeah. I mean, this week alone.
It's simply as that.
This week alone, I know people who've gone to funerals, and I'm like, "You what? Why would you go to a?" Oh, well, I have to. I don't have to, and I don't care if you, mama, sister, cousin, aunt, uncle. If you're in the ground, my presence in an indoor space to then potentially get COVID, to then potentially infect other people who very well may die, doesn't make sense to me. Because as much as I'm doing, I know a lot of people are not going to do it. I take Daily Detox Plus. I take Restore. I take B Plus. I take M Plus. I make sure I take Regen X because I'm over 21. So I want my human growth hormone helping me to have that fountain of youth so I could be all sexy, y'all. Sexy, going back to 16. But all seriousness, I have a regimen that's really simple. My baby that's 16 months, his regimen is Daily Detox Plus, Restore. I sometimes have been playing a little bit with the M Plus with him, but I'm making sure that we have viral load reducers. We also are using air purifiers that are NASA approved to kill COVID. But what I look at though is I think we have a freedom because we also have a ministry of helping other people and pouring into other people and serving other people. And one of the things that I've found in my journey is that the more you help other people, you'll always find that you'll be having a waterfall effect of luxury, money, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life is your reality if you're doing the things to genuinely serve people whereby they can genuinely come into the fullness of life.
And you know,
so then basically you're saying that we all need to have this we have to this change in our mindset, how we view things.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was yesterday with a sister who she has a young child who's literally 2 months different than my own. My thing is, hey, we can just set up a homeschool cooperative and keep it pushing. I've done that in the past to help other children start college at 12 and 13 years old. Let's just do what we need to do and let's use the creativity and the wisdom we have amongst us. I mean, if I need anybody for meteorology, we'll call you, Sister Grace. And if I need anybody, you know what I'm saying? I know we have enough brilliant people around us that whatever class that we need to teach, our children would get the benefit of it. And with technology now, you can either A, come on in, or B, we got enough acreage that you can stand outside and teach class. And we can pay for people's expertise to come in and help to grow community.
And definitely, you know, like Sis Grace mentioned, that you have to have a mind shift and a mindset change. And even with the times within the last year, if no one's mind has already shifted, rather you wanted to or not, I don't think you've been paying attention. Because it has forced you to shift your mind. It has forced you to think different. It has forced you to get creative. It has helped your body and your mind to become creative so you can do the thing that you want to do. People have started businesses out of this pandemic.
Right. Because I remember, and I chuckle as I think of it, for all intents and purposes, the medical model of care would have thought that I would have become a statistic, which means that I should have been dead within the year of the baby being born. And you should have been a single father raising him, because my sugars went up, not down after I had him. My gestational diabetes and gestational eclampsia got really bad.
It did the exact opposite.
Right. So my sugars went all the way to the 500s and 600s. I had never seen that when I was pregnant. My pressures went to stroke level, and they stayed there for a good while. And so it was the fact that you had the wisdom to know, hey, we're going to at least get a wholesale account, see if it is what we think it is, because we know with us, when we bring other people, right, we got to make sure that they win. That's our passion. Our passion is helping testimonies of transformation. And so it was amazing because, and sharing it, we were able to help other people to get the benefit right alongside of us. And as the result, we all won. So between a Friday and a Monday, my sugars dropped 150 points. And I'm sitting there like, what? And I made major errors. Looking back, other people were much smarter than me. They didn't wait. They signed up and kept going, and they instead got $5,000 in 3 days, right? So what have I learned now is lessons learned. If you can easily just help other people, and in helping other people, a company that's going to pay out 49 to 51% to you, look at most compensation plans. That's not what's happening. I was talking to a person who manages for a beverage company, and you go in, the cost to make the thing is only cents, like less than a penny, right? But you're paying dollars. So look at just how the markups are. So then instead, you look at how little the people are being paid.
Right, because
on the other hand, when we have our own businesses and we're in business for ourselves, but not by ourselves, what I love, Sister Grace, is that I know that I'm never having to talk to somebody one-on-one and have them only having my lens. I know that we can always jump in on a roundtable and have a conversation with people with a wellness conversation to help them design what's going to best fit their wellness, wealth, and freedom. Yeah. And that to me is huge, because I remember my husband's first thing he said, well, hey, at least now I can afford your wellness app. Because when he first married me, he talked major trash. You're like, why we got to buy all this stuff?
Like $100 in the VR, just a small shopping bag for items. I'm like, oh, what's going on? This highway robbery.
But I think now you recognize that, because I knew I had a pre-existing condition. I knew I had to be on top of keeping myself well, because the crashes aren't worth it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely.
And that's, I think, what we're getting into. So when you're keeping as you know, we have an amazing mentor of ours, Professor Tarek Odino, and he said something that I still am, digesting. Stand up, stand back. Stand up your immune system. Stand back from the miseducation and indoctrination that's being pushed. Much of what I think people are doing is really just being led to slaughter by people that already have a depopulation agenda. And when people tell you it's easier to kill people than to control people, the big new Brzezinski, like that should have told a lot of people a lot.
That's like what?
And you have had people like Gates sitting there talking about the importance of that we have an overpopulation. We don't have an overpopulation. What are you talking about?
This planet is big enough to hold exactly what it's going to hold. It's the fact of the resources that people are wasting and misusing and abusing. That's why there's a problem.
Right. Because some of us are more greedy. Some of us are greedy.
The earth weighs 6 trillion tons. If you actually sit there and look at how much is land and how much is water, and you really get into what resources we have available, you quickly realize that it's because we're doing big ads. We're doing these things that are not sustainable because it's profit before people. But if we started having small base farms that are 5 acres and under per family, and people started living in a sustainable model that's based on a preparedness lifestyle, much of what we complain about.
You have more than enough to utilize for yourself and your family. More than enough.
But instead, we do this city-type urban lifestyle that's a concrete jungle where it's going to be hotter because the concrete and the asphalt makes everything hotter. We're using vehicles with all kinds of emissions and gases, and we're using these plastic water bottles thinking we're doing something right. Like most of what we do is a death style that we've been conditioned to do, and we don't even recognize that we've been conditioned to harm ourselves. Exactly. And see,
so you
have an endorsement here.
That's true. So we're saying we have a solution that's win-win. It helps you're able to stay healthy, mind, body, community, and family. And then there's the financial part that helps you to maintain the other parts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Real talk.
You have to have those 5 pillars of balance. Those weigh everything evenly. You know, if you have all those, and those things are extremely important.
we're talking from the perspective of having been there, done that. My husband was a workaholic. I was a workaholic. Two different kinds. I was a self-employed version. He was an employed version. But either way, imbalance is imbalance. My husband would sacrifice his wellness thinking, hey, I'm going to get a little bit of extra to work overnight. Well, overnight working is called a graveyard shift for a reason. So what are we doing, right? Whenever we have less than 6 hours of sleep, that's deep restorative sleep, well, guess what? Cancer cells start proliferating. So don't be surprised when you get it. I actually was just looking at something talking about Nene Leakes' husband who just transitioned from cancer. And several times it came to my mind, who do we know who could get the message out to him that we have a way that he could actually fight cancer and win, right? Because we know lots of testimonies of people over and over and over again who use the same things that we have in our preparedness wellness kit that were stage 4 cancer that ended up getting better. We don't diagnose, we don't treat, none of that, but we have enough knowledge to understand the medical model of care is not designed for our success. If you want to have a sense of really being a healer, you've got to connect to the healer of all, which is the creator of the heavens and earth. And in doing that, you're connecting to what? Nature, because nature is where the creator of the heavens and earth put the things that are designed to help to put us back in balance.
Exactly, and you just have to dig and search.
Yeah. And the cool part is that we don't have to anymore. You have communities that have made it a point, and we have mentors that we have been around who have made $60,000 or more every month after month after month, and humbly submitted they're not the sharpest knives in the drawer. So if any and everybody can do it, let's do it. And let's take our families, our community to living lifestyles and balance and really having community again. I'm thinking as I look around, the biggest issue is that we, specifically those of us who got conned into this desegregation space, we didn't recognize the difference between just simply desegregating versus integrating. And in integrating, we didn't understand the importance of keeping a salad bowl. Let the tomato be the tomato, let the cucumber be the cucumber, let the salad, the lettuce, right, be the lettuce. But instead, we want it to be a melting pot. And guess what? That goes back to scripture. Come out of her, my people. Come out of what? Death style. Come out of something that Martin Luther King referenced as a burning house, right? So if you know something is going to be under chastisement, if you know something is going to be in a fall, do not let them charm you by waving something in front of your face to make you think this tinkling symbol, this thing is going to be your salvation somehow. Like right now, I look at some people who want to be so materialistic, they think buying the most expensive things. And I'm saying, you having somebody else's name on you doesn't exactly mean that you're free. Last time I checked, that sounded like slavery.
Yes.
But we're taught by a culture that by design wants to profit off of us what to do. I was in a meeting talking about diversity in Hollywood, and I'm sitting there the whole time saying, why would I want to have diversity in Hollywood? Why don't we just stop watching what Hollywood produces? Hollywood was built to destroy certain populations. So why don't we just build our own table? So that's all I'm saying. Let's just grow community solutions. Let's just come together and figure out how we soar above. And by doing that, you know, we have the keys to wellness. Let's plug in, right? Sister Grace, what's your website?
keystowellnessnow.com.
So I don't think there's anything more important than the keys to wellness now. And I know you as a medical researcher who's done this for decades, who's an accomplished mom who raised a child without all the normal things that people are conned into doing that cause them all kind of problems. I still relish when you tell me the things that she's been navigating, and she knows, like, hey, I'm gonna get my daily detox, let's take a whole bunch of it because this other person had COVID and I was around. I think that shows that you have done an amazing job as a mom and can coach people like me who are clearly screwing it up.
Oh, no.
Because I'm trying to figure it out.
It's
but,
a process,
cool
so we are learning.
right? It was cool being an auntie. I thought I was the bomb. But man, 24/7, yes. It's a whole different thing. I keep trying to figure out A is for apple, apple, and having to laugh at myself as I go to different letters. I'm like, wait, which food? So it's a journey, and we need each other. The whole premise now that I'm working on is kind of like a mom, dad, and me grouping, so we can build a community, support those of us who believe in that type of family lifestyle. But it's all based in having a village.
I agree.
So people, stay connected with us. Connect with us on social media sites. feel free to text us at 757-982-7777. Definitely text us and be sure to put hashtag keys to wellness now, whereby we can connect to you and just make sure that you always are staying connected. We strive to share with you as we strive ourselves with amazing resources within our toolbox, whereby we live the principle that we feel is foundational to life, which is loving for you what we love for ourselves, and we strive to love for you just a little bit more, just in case we don't love enough for ourselves. So we appreciate you. Peace be unto you always, family.